you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're live, I think, or we could have been live before. I don't know. All right, I think we're live. Hey everyone, welcome. Hey everyone, welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto every day. Today I've got a good friend of mine. I've got Mitch Saunders on the show. He is all the way from, where are you from, Mitch?
From Sydney, Australia. It's 2:06 a.m.
Oh my God. So you shout, oh, there we are. Shout out to you and your family. Tell the family thank you so much for allowing you to be up at 2 a.m. in the morning to join me on the O Show today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, they're excited. They're actually at home watching. Well, the kids are.
Oh, yay.
They're
How
asleep, but
fun. How fun. I appreciate just a really quick. I appreciate everybody in the chat right now. All of you guys. We've got 84 concurrent viewers. We're going to get this up soon once we get started over here. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, you guys. That helps boost the algo. Shout out to Raider. He's holding it down. So on this show, you guys are just going to talk about basic news because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I want to get Mitch's take on some things because I think it's kind of important to do so. So we're going to do
Mitch is
that.
just sharing. He's just sharing. He's just trying to get people on here, just spreading the love.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Before we get started, though, I want to go ahead and what is this? What is this one? This one. Before we get started, I actually want to do a sponsored segment really quick because this project we've talked about on the show before, but I think we need to talk about it again. So the project, let me go ahead and share my screen really quick because they've got a really interesting update that I think that we should discuss. And then after that, we can get into all of the fun stuff that we got to talk about. Okay, so the project is Graphlink, and we've talked about it on the show before because they do some really awesome, really cool stuff. But basically, they have integration for Bitcoin network and a managed wallet, auto swap on Uniswap coming on Graphlink, and plus IDE and analytics update. So the last 2 months, they've really been working hard on getting all of these things updated. They have over 200 plus logical blocks on their no code drag drop IDE for blockchain applications. So if you are brand new to crypto and you're interested in learning how to code, you're interested in preparing all this stuff, but you really don't know where to start, Graphlink is a really easy way to go ahead and do so. So right now, some updates that they have with the IDE, they've got B1.10. Are you familiar with Graphlink at all, Mitch?
I'm not, but it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like something that I could play with myself.
Yeah, you're more of a tech guy, right?
I'm more of a tech guy. I understand code. I just don't write.
Okay, but this is probably for you then. So it's really for people who can have basic understanding of it, but are not quite there yet, I think. And for me, it's cool to kind of discuss it. So they've got their project management system. You can now have multiple graph projects on the IDE. They've got new live coin watch block. You'll be able to fetch coin data from their volume, all-time high, rate, supply. You can add a new API block. You're able to create a complete API from IDE, and you can fetch, post data and a cache system, UX improvements, and add more special action on blocks to help you configure them more easily. And so this is actually what it looks like, guys. We did a little, not a demo, but like we went over it on the show, but you can basically customize like price alerts, which is immensely important for anybody who's interested in kind of tracking this stuff. A lot of people track stuff behind the scenes and they're able to do incredibly well trading just with some of this basic fundamental stuff, which is really cool. So if you're interested, take a look. Also to you guys, they were featured in Bitcoin.com. You can earn up to 50% APY by staking Graphlinks on our GLQ on the Graphlink app. Again, it's hashtag GLQ. Basically, what you want to do, the way you want to play these is you want to go ahead and use a Moonbag to stake. And the reason why we use a Moonbag, just in case something happens, but this is up. You can go ahead and earn this passive income by using the project, something you're interested in. And of course, another reason why I want to talk about them, they went ahead and were featured in Yahoo Finance. Polygon Matic announces their official partnership with Graphlink protocol, which is immensely important. Anything that is partnering with Polygon, for the most part, we want to pay attention to them on the show because we are Matic fanatics on my show. Because Matic has performed so incredibly well for us. And then a couple other things. Oh, they've got their auto swap feature on Uniswap. And basically that's going to allow you to, that's going to show events triggered on and off chain that the users can set up on their no code IDE. So again, if you are trading any type of Uniswap stuff, DeFi stuff, there's not a whole lot of data out there. Do you trade Uniswap stuff, Mitch?
I don't really, and mainly because I get frustrated with the liquidity issues. Like,
Yeah.
I've bought a few like ICO type offers, but I tend to go after the small caps that have at least an exchange or two on, but I have been forced to buy something on Uniswap as well as on PancakeSwap and been frustrated with the liquidity.
Well, maybe Graphlink might be something for
Maybe.
you because you're able to track liquidity and all that type of stuff, and you can use their swaps, which I think is really cool.
And yeah, that's one of the things, because like it's such a new, there's such new platforms. There's just very little data to know, how much you actually need to, to buy what you need to buy. So yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little bit hard because like I know when I use Uniswap or like 1inch, when I'm trying to buy a really risky project, there's not enough liquidity. So you have to up the slippage a whole lot, and it gets scary because you're like, oh my God, my slippage is like 30%.
Wick just go up like this,
Yes,
and you're like,
oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah. You get scared. You're like, oh my God, what is this? It's absolutely crazy. So I think that Graphlink is good for that. If you know how to code and do stuff, that's going to be more of a Mitch thing. So maybe Mitch will try it out and come back to us and be like, hey, this is great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So Mitch, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, Mitch Sanders, also on YouTube. I'm the guy that does crypto, racing, and cars. So I'm real big into my cars. I love getting my hands dirty as I do during the day, and I'm an educator as well. I've been an educator since late 2016 in the space.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then where can people can find you on Facebook, right?
Awesome. Absolutely. Just search for Mitch Sanders, and I'm the guy that's smiling with the.
Are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And
okay.
I'll send you my links shortly so you can throw it below.
Okay, perfect. And then Mitch, if you were in Los Angeles, California, I would love to invite you to my event that I'm having because I have to share with the audience. Are you ready for the special announcement?
I am.
Okay, even though Mitch can't be here with us in real life, he will be here with us in spirit. So as you guys know, I've hosted over 4 dozen free crypto events. They are all meetups. They are generally in Los Angeles, California. But when I travel to these conferences, I actually host events there also because I want to keep them free. I want to keep them open for everybody. But if you go to my website at CryptoWendyO.com and you click on my link over here, we're going to be having a Los Angeles crypto networking meetup. It is going to be Saturday, June 26th at 5 p.m. PST. It's going to be at Angel City Brewery. They don't know we are coming, so we have to behave. As always, you guys, of course, there's the reason why I decided to start hosting events again is because everything is pretty much opened up it's going to be opened up in Los Angeles after June 15th. Of course, feel free to, cover your face up or social distance, whatever it is that you do need to do to feel comfortable. And if you don't feel comfortable, I'm going to try to hire a videographer to come and take video stuff, and then we'll post it on the channel. But everybody is open. Everybody is welcome. Everybody's open. I'm trying to get Blockfolio, the channel sponsor, to go ahead and buy some drinks for us. So I hope to see all of you guys there. Please share this with your friends. It's going to be a free event. All you have to do is just kind of show up and hang out with us. That's all we want to do. So there's that.
And it's killing me because I used to live in San Diego up until 2015.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to run a business out of San Diego, California. And it kills me not being able to travel over there now. There's just so many good events. Did you get to Miami?
I did not go to Miami, and I will not discuss why I didn't go to Miami on the show. Long story, but basically somebody was not there. People say weird stuff in crypto, so I just decided not to go.
Yeah, that's fair. I was definitely looking through a lot of people's photos and videos in our group, and really getting quite jealous that I can barely leave my island, let alone go to a crypto event.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, let's get into the news. We're going to cover a few news stories, and then I'm going to explain what it is, and I want to get your take on it, Mitch, because you've been in the space for a long time. You're a lot more tech savvy than I am. And then I'm going to cover Bitcoin and take a look. Maybe I'll take a look at some alts, depending if we have time or not. My daughter asked me for breakfast. I told her she needed to wait because she already got 2 snacks this morning. So our first little news tidbit here. We've got a big one coming out of Texas. But I want to just kind of focus on this story because this is a more tech savvy story, and I want to get Mitch's opinion. So this is from Decrypt, which is my favorite crypto media news outlet. Why are crypto projects like Polkadot and Near building cross-chain bridges? A number of projects are racing to create an internet of blockchains, allowing users, data, and developers to move more freely in between projects. Why don't you talk to us a little bit on why you think projects in crypto want to go ahead and use cross-chain bridges and what that means?
So it's kind of like the opposite of the way that Microsoft and Apple are. Like everything wants to be connected together because it allows for a lot more liquidity, it allows for a lot more movement, and it allows for a lot of these applications to talk to each other. Like back in the day, being able to connect your Zoom application to YouTube was just not even possible. There was no APIs, there was no nothing. And it creates this real separation. So it's really good for the space, and it's really good for each individual project. Like one thing I love about Polygon, which was a coin that we found when it was around 2 cents. I know you're a big fan. I know you're a big fan. Almost 2 years ago, we talked about that on our channel. And yeah, they're just really big about connecting everyone. And I think the projects that are, it's us versus them, or kind of that mentality, they're the ones that are going to be massively left behind in this space.
Also, Mitch, I want to ask you a question. A lot of people ask me this question, and I want to ask you now. So what do you think about when Ethereum finally merges over from proof of work to proof of stake? Because Matic Polygon is essentially a layer 2 solution that allows, better connectivity, allows a bunch of different things to communicate and talk together. But will there still be a use for Matic after that happens?
I don't know about you, but my first phone was an Ericsson. Do you remember Ericsson?
I had a Nokia brick phone, and I worked in a pet store. I got paid $20 a day to clean up poop.
So how many years has it been since you've had a Nokia?
Oh my God, like 20 years.
20, right? If you have either an iPhone or an Android now, and it's either Samsung or Apple, really.
Yeah.
So I believe that Ethereum is going to be here for quite a long time, but eventually there's going to be something else that's going to take over, that's going to deal with all of its setbacks. So I'm not talking in the short term, like 3-6 months. I'm talking like 5-10 years, because technology is technology. It'll continue to grow and evolve and move. But number one will not always be number one. Bitcoin will be, I believe, but Ethereum on the other hand, because it's a supercomputer, whereas Bitcoin is more of a store of value, a place for people to store their wealth, whereas Ethereum is just a massive computer that's globally managed by a lot of different people. So I see that one of these other chains is eventually going to overtake, and it could be Matic, it could be there's 10 that have huge potential in the space, that are growing and have some incredible minds, and one of them being ADA is continuing to pump in price, but their development and the platform itself is so much more behind a lot of these, like Solana and Polygon, and it's crazy. But their price, and we've seen Bitcoin retrace 50%, but ADA is still just like on this mad incline. So it's a massive hype machine, and I hope it continues to grow.
All right, let's take a look at the Matic Polygon chart. So we've had a bit of a pretty gnarly pullback. We hit a high of approximately $2.59. This was back at the very, very peak, May 18th, and we've been in this decline. And this is the same chart we've been using for a while, guys. And now we're in this downtrend, and we're holding support really strongly on $1.33. Taking a look at MACD, it kind of looks like things are going to drop a little bit. We may get a drop back sub 133, because it's looking like we're losing support. Also, paying attention to the 4-hour chart here. Let's see. It's looking like we're fighting really, really hard for support. However, you guys, if you like Matic, if you're a Matic fanatic like myself, I have a fat moon bag, so I'm not interested in really buying more. If I can get some at like super low prices, like 40 cents, I would consider it. But realistically, for me, it doesn't make sense for me to buy more now, because I've got so much. But if you can get Matic, I would probably look for this full retracement area between about probably like 92 cents, because when we had that massive drop, when Bitcoin had that ugly drop around May 23rd, we hit a low of like 74 cents. So if you can catch a bid in there, I think that would be a nice place to kind of start looking. That's just my opinion. You guys can do what you want. Me personally, I wouldn't start buying Matic again if we broke down this range like sub 40 cents, just because I have so much.
This is another good example of like BTC is definitely retraced, and you can see it on this chart, but the strength of the fundamentals of Matic, it's literally gone back up and continued to, like, it's still in a downward trend, but it's still very much a solid project, that you can see that from the chart.
I totally agree. Let's see what they're saying in the chat. Yep, we got 481 people in here. Appreciate all you guys. Let's talk about the next story. The next cool story.
What's the next story?
The next story is actually pretty important. Okay, so let me go ahead and share.
I'm completely blind. She hasn't told me anything. She's like, hey, what do you think of this? Like I actually
I'm sorry, and that's my bad, and it's because I've been a complete hot mess this week, like an absolute hot mess. And it's just we're in the process of restructuring the way we do things here on the back end. So I'm just trying to get everything set up. So I apologize for that. But one of the things I do with the news stories, I wake up every morning and I pick them. I customize them for not customize them, but I pick them for the show. So I pick what's most relevant, and I think that that's important.
Which, by the way, I'm loving those like short updates. They're really, really cool. I'm thinking of incorporating something like that on my channel as well. They're really useful, really cool.
It's important to discuss because there's so much going on with crypto right now, especially with all these crazy things. We're going to talk about what's happening in El Salvador in a minute, guys. But this just came out of Texas. And this came out yesterday. So Texas to allow state banks to hold Bitcoin. State banks to hold Bitcoin. And I don't know if I can pull my notes up if you guys will see them. But anyways, the most important issue of this. So banks with a national charter can already custody crypto. According to the OCC, Texas says that that's true of its state chartered banks as well. The key piece here, where is it? Oh, here we go. The Texas Department of Banking today issued a notice confirming that the state charter banks may store cryptocurrency on clients' behalf, provided they have adequate protocols in place. And then where was it? Oh, the notice gives interested banks the opinion to store copies of private keys or even accept cryptocurrency transfers into wallets controlled solely by the banks. They may also partner with third parties to provide such services.
Wow.
This is in Texas.
That's big. Well, I did see that the mayor of Texas said that we want to be the mecca of Bitcoin. So it makes sense that they're jumping right into that and allowing it straight away.
What do you guys have anything like that in Australia?
We have a really good technology hub with a lot of blockchain projects here, especially in Melbourne, which is about 10 hours drive from here. The equivalent of like San Francisco to San Diego.
Okay, and that's far. It's like 8 hours.
It is. It's a big drive. So we have quite a big tech hub, but our government it gives out a lot of grants for it, but there's not a lot of projects here compared to the United States or Europe.
Yeah, I mean, so me coming from the United States, this is massive, and it's Texas. Yeah. Texas is kind of like almost in direct competition with California because California was the hub. That's where all the tech guys came from. But California is like a hot mess.
People are flocking. Yeah, they're flocking.
They're leaving California. They're going, like the people that I just bought my house from, they went to Tennessee. And everybody's leaving California because the politics here are kind of crazy. Our government, our mayor's priorities are just not in best interest of the people. Our taxes are like 13%. Like in Los Angeles County, if I go to Target, I think my tax rate is like 10%. But if I go to like San Bernardino County, it's like 8% or something ridiculous. But they don't. And I've had Ian Calderon on my show. He was a California lawmaker for a city I think it was out of Norwalk. And he was like super into blockchain, super into crypto, super into like, making California like the hub. But our legislation, the people that are running California could care less. They can absolutely care less.
Really, really, it's just an old man's club. And they're just very, closed.
They're not old men though. That's the thing. Oh, really? They're not old. They're not old. They're like 50, 60 years old. And like, that's not even really old in today's society. Like old to me is like 80 or 90 years old or 70 years old, but they're like
probably write checks though.
I still write checks. There's some places I have to write checks too.
Oh, wow. In Australia, like I'm 33 years old and I've never had a checkbook. We do not have checks here at all.
Checks, baby. Checks.
Wow. That is amazing.
I can't, I wish I could show you guys, but it's got all my stuff on
there. We barely even use cash. Like right now, there's bills trying to be passed for like digital ID wallets with, the jab for COVID so that you can fly. And
we call it stupid 19 here.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Like I definitely want to travel. I miss being able to see my friends in the US and in the rest of the world, but I don't want to get a jab just to be able to travel. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm not ready quite yet because I don't really go a whole lot of places. I don't do things. I'm very, very, very healthy.
You're a bit of a hermit, aren't you?
Huh?
You're a bit of a hermit, aren't you?
I kind of am.
You're a homebody.
I just like my new house a lot. I really, really like it. It's got a pool. But kind of back to this, it just kind of goes to show you, like my good buddy Mark Moss, he talks about going where you're treated best. And in California,
Yeah.
we're really not treated best. Unfortunately, I cannot physically leave California because I have obligations to family members. I have things I have to do here. But there's other places to kind of go. And the fact that Texas is doing this is revolutionary. And this kind of segues into our next topic that we are going to touch on really quickly. Let me pull it up. So this was posted yesterday. This was from President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele.
He's a celebrity now, right? The whole world knows about him in like 24 hours.
And we might talk about some hot topics, but basically this is 15 hours ago. This guy, they made Bitcoin the legal tender in like 12 hours. Like within like 24 hours, it went to Congress. The bill was passed. The bill was 3 pages in plain English. 3 pages in plain English. Go ahead.
Do you know the level of what this means to the world? Like, not to hype stuff up, but what this actually means, because Japan was the first to class it as legal tender, and Japan is in trade with the United States. El Salvador, being the second, is also in trade with the United States. So the United States has to accept this as legal tender, and the more countries that accept it that are in trade within the United States, the quicker it's going to actually become legal tender. So Paraguay are already in talks. The Colombian head of Colombia is also in talks. So I think it's going to be a domino, especially in South America, and then the rest of the world will just eventually follow. It's like the MicroStrategy effect, but for legalizing Bitcoin as tender. So it's going to be awesome. But yeah, go back to what you were saying.
And it's also interesting because leaders from G7 nations meet in Cornwall, England for summit, and that's a whole nother thing. We're not going to discuss. But they're going to be.
Did you see that the IMF is like really upset?
They're upset because they're losing power. What the United States should have done, what the United States of America should have done, is integrated the U.S. digital dollar fast and did it right before stupid 19 happened, to make all the stimulus checks, all the payments faster. They should have integrated that immediately, and it would be a little bit easy. I feel like it would be not as much of a shock to them. But this gentleman from El Salvador, president of El Salvador, you might not like his politics. You might not like what goes on in El Salvador. But if you're not from El Salvador, you don't know anyone who's been to El Salvador, don't know what the economics are like over there, then you should learn about that before you really kind of talk about what's happening. People are saying that he's doing this to kind of incite illicit activities on his part. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that that's correct. I'm not saying what he's doing is right. But what I am saying is every single government official has their own thing that they're doing that is not 100%, up to par. And the way I'm looking at it, he's taking Bitcoin. They're using 100% renewable geothermal energy to go ahead and mine it. So it takes the concern of global warming out the door. It completely throws it out the door, which is amazing. And this is what the facility is going to look like. It's going to look like this over here. And you guys can kind of see this in the background. It's wild. It's wild what this thing is going to look like. But what I want to kind of really focus on is the quality of life of people in El Salvador. I have friends who have immigrated to the United States to get out of El Salvador because it is so poor and there's so much crime. Generally, places that have a lot of crime that are unsafe, it's due to the fact that they're very, very poor. And I'm not saying committing crime is okay. I'm just trying to help people understand the type of mindset is what happens.
And generally, it's government corruption is also associated with the majority of poor countries.
Exactly.
And where the crime continues as well.
And I feel like this is essentially giving power. Like if he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And I'm not here to judge him. I'm not here to say he's wrong, but what I'm here to say is I'm here to point out the positive aspects of this. People in El Salvador are now going to have access to Bitcoin. They're going to have access to Bitcoin wallets. So God forbid something terrible happens in their home. They can flee with their family and they can take their wealth with them because all they need is their private key. They just need to have their private key memorized and they're good. They're safe to go. And I feel like a lot of people in countries like America or maybe Australia that we've never really been invaded. We've never been to a place where we had to pick up and rush out of a house before with our families and worry. These people have. These people have, and their quality of life is completely different to ours. And I'm just happy that they're going to have an option now, that they have a choice and it's going to be supported by different banks. They can literally have their private keys. They can walk into a bank and be like, hey, I need and get access to it after they have to flee their house or something. Or if they want to immigrate to the United States, they just need their private keys. They don't have to take anything else.
Yeah, if they are unbanked, and I didn't realize this until recently, but there's a huge percentage of the United States, it's unbanked. But there's a lot of people that don't actually have bank accounts in the United States. So yeah, you're right. Like having access to Bitcoin, having a private key, being able to travel, or flee a country, it gives you incredible freedom.
It does. And it just, I grew up very, very poor, very, very, very poor after my dad passed away. And I've grew up around people who are also very poor that had different stories than I did. And a lot of people that I worked with, they came over from Latin America and they had different stories to share. And I was able to kind of relate to them in a way of having, a hardship that happened. And a lot of these people, they'll come to the United States and their goal is to send money back home to their family. And it's very hard. They have to do it through Western Union. They have to do all that type of stuff. It's expensive. They're closed on the weekends. So these people have to figure out how to coordinate with their work schedule. Sometimes they're working 2 to 3 jobs. And it's just kind of ridiculous. But with Bitcoin, that kind of solves the problem because mostly everybody, especially in Latin America, they have access to cell phones unless they're in like a remote area. Because my friends, that's how they would talk to their friends or their friends and their family that are there. So anyways, I'm very excited about what's happening in El Salvador because the reason why I Bitcoin is because I think it will help improve the quality of life of a lot of different people. And I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist.
For South America as well. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, and they're giving residency to people who have pulled over 3 Bitcoin. So I think that's pretty cool, in my opinion.
Cool. And
I think it's cool.
Paraguay, they only require 0.3 of a BTC for residency.
Ooh. Ooh, we'll have to see. I mean, I know it's not safe there right now. I probably would be fine because I attract very interesting people. But let's go ahead and talk about this next story, Mitch. I want to talk about this next story with you. Actually, yeah, we'll talk about this next story and then I'm going to chart Bitcoin, but I want to get your take on this because this is pretty interesting. So I've been closely following the Documenting Bitcoin Twitter account. So JP Morgan,
right? Whoever he is or he, amazing.
Yeah, this account is outstanding. I love
underrated.
it. They probably don't like me because I'm an S coiner, but that's okay. So JP Morgan on El Salvador adopting Bitcoin. Notice the last line. So this was this is from Latin America Emerging Research, June 11th, 2021. The Bitcoinization of El Salvador, why now and what it means. Let's just kind of highlight the bottom point over here. But those moves may be complicated if this is the beginning of a broader trend among similarly situated smaller nations. So what they're basically saying here, and the way that I understand, you guys can go ahead and read all this, that's fine, whatever. But they're talking really about Bitcoin being adopted as legal tender to other countries as well. And they're saying here that it's very complicated and maybe very hard for a lot of people to understand what's happening. But the thing is, they can't deny it because the more countries start adopting Bitcoin as legal tender or any other cryptocurrency, which I think is just going to be Bitcoin right now, they're going to have to acknowledge it, especially these smaller countries. A lot of people didn't think that the El Salvador thing was a big deal. They're like, oh, it's not really that big of a deal. They've got a small, economy. It is a big deal. It is a really, really big deal. But like you said, it's a domino effect. And as more and more countries start to pick it up as legal tender, what's going to happen is powers like China, powers like places in Southeast Asia, Australia, United States, Africa, they're going to have to start paying attention because all the trade that's going on. So go ahead and give me your thoughts, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think there's quite a few ways to look at it. There's definitely going to be a domino effect. The IMF is definitely pissed, it says here as well. And I think the big part of it, like I think the GDP of El Salvador is like $50 billion a year, which is tiny. Like it's a couple of mid caps. Large cap coins is their GDP. So I think it's going to open up opportunity. Like in Australia, we have huge amounts of tax. So the highest tax bracket is like 47.5% here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we get capital gains. We get 50% on
50%.
Yes.
Dear Lord, that is a lot.
Your reaction is perfect. So when I tell people that, they're like, why don't you move to one of these countries? And, I'd love to do that, but again, I've got commitments to family and whatnot. But I've got a lot of friends that have done very well for crypto and they're single or they're looking to change their life a little bit. And it is an option for them to go to somewhere like El Salvador. It's probably not the safest country, but as like I know Colombia, I've got friends living there, and Colombia is a massive tech hub for crypto, especially Medellin, which is quite ironic. And given, Medellin and Colombia has a very bad rep from all of the, drug wars and whatnot from the 90s and so on, it's actually very safe there now compared to a lot of other countries in South America. So, somewhere like Colombia opening up to Bitcoin as legal tender and not having any taxation on it would be something that would be really enticing for me and for a lot of different people. So, whereabouts are you from? What's your background?
I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and bred.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm from LA over here. Let me go ahead. Let's do a quick Bitcoin update over here.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so this is our chart. This is the chart we've been using, guys. We are in our vibe and consolidate range. The vibe and consolidate range is about 37,500 to about 33,400. A lot of people are kind of freaking out about this, like, oh my God, this is the weekly chart, which just a bunch. It's really not a whole lot of movement. We do have a lot of volatility happening. That's why, unless you're scalping, I'm just not even touching any kind of trading with Bitcoin right now. So I went ahead and drew this cute little white trend line so you guys can see what's going on. We have yet to make a higher high. A higher high is when you're able to flip above an area of resistance like this, like about 39,000, and create two candle heads together, two candle butts together. A higher high would be something like this out of this range here. But anyways, we have not been able to make a higher high. So it's getting a little bit scary, like what the heck is happening? But to me, when I see a lot of consolidation with Bitcoin like this, there's a volatile move incoming, whether it be we break up and we flip 37,000 or we break down and we break 33.5. So right now, these are just the levels that I'm watching to see what happens. But kind of taking a look at the chart today, it's showing market ciphers telling us we've created a really strong top here and to short. That's what it's telling me. We just printed a little bit of a red dot. It's showing me that we need to kind of head back down to about 33,000. Personally, for me, I am not really concerned. Even if we tap 30,000 again, that's totally fine, because that's where the swing wick low is that occurs on May 19th. But realistically, I think we're going to get a drop. I don't know if this is going to break. I feel like we're just going to keep consolidating in this range for a while. And once we get a clear trigger area, like, hey, we flipped 37.5 into support, or we broke down 33.5 and it's now resistance. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. What do you feel? What do you feel is going to happen with Bitcoin, Mitch?
So my background's fundamental trading, not so much technical. I've learned technical in order, to survive and be in this space.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that I'm looking at, and I've got a good friend that's been, trading options and futures for like as old as I am, in traditional markets, and he started trading in crypto, and he keeps saying things like, using TA is a great way to use the past to predict the future, but using options and futures is a great way to see what people are betting on in the future, and looking at what the max pain is. So right now, the max pain for options that are expiring this week and next week is around the 35, 36 mark, which implies that it's going to sit around that kind of mark. I definitely think that we are heading further downward, with the next support being at 27 or 28K. I think you've got here 26,800.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. You are right at like 20, like around 30,000, because we do have all these areas of support.
That's right. If we do go there, it's for minutes. It's literally to like bust out a bunch of longs, and it will bounce just as quickly as it touches, kind of like what it did on this week here, the really long wick on that first downward movement, which was like early June. But yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm hoping that it continues to just consolidate in the vibrant consolidate band, but it's looking like it is going to head down to low 30s, I think.
Do you think the bull run's over?
Absolutely not. I think that what's happened is so many people got so excited so quickly, and we moved up far too quickly. And I was saying this in like March and April. I'm like, this is amazing. And full discretion, I didn't sell any of my positions. I did think that we were going to keep going. But at the same time, I was saying we were moving up too quickly, and this is technically going to get overheated. So I definitely don't think the bull run's over. I think the proof in the pudding right now is seeing new coins, good high cap and mid cap coins hitting all-time highs, while BTC is retracing. That to me is the proof in the pudding that we are definitely still in a bull run. I think we have bearish tendencies right now. I think there's a lot of big money that is going to be using what's going on to scoop up cheap Bitcoin. We've seen MicroStrategy commit $1.6 billion in convertible notes, as well as other institutions that are buying it. And it's just a natural progression. Like I'm sure you heard for many years, I wish institutions would come. I wish institutions would come.
They're here.
They've been here. They've been here for over 12 months. And this right here is institutions, whether you subscribe to the Wyckoff method or not, which it looks very textbook Wyckoff. They're here, and the majority that are here that have big movement power are basically saying we want it cheaper, and our clients want it cheaper. So we're going to try and get it at a discount. We're trying to push it down as far as we can. But yeah, the whole 15 grand or 10 grand BTC, I think, is just really ridiculous. Could it happen? Is anything possible? Yes. Is 20K possible? Yes. But I just don't see it happening. There's too much money in the market to let it go that low and shake a lot of people that have been on the sidelines for so long. Like the big banks have been so against it, and now they're finally in, like shaking it from 64K to 10K. It's going to cripple it for years. So I don't think that will happen.
I don't know. The only thing I will say is I like to kind of look, I do a lot of TA on the show. I do think when we are actually in a bear market, we are going to get that 80% drop from whatever all-time high is, because that's what we've had historically in the past. I also want to pull this chart up and show it to you. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this chart here, let me go to a larger time frame. So this chart here, this is my Bitcoin bull run chart. And basically what it is I'm using the weekly time frame just so I can kind of show, well, I guess we can do 3 days so you guys can see a little bit better. What I did is I took Q2, and every Q2 historically we had a really big pump. 2018, 60% pump, 2019, 250, 2021, 120. And there's a difference though. The market is completely different. And the difference is it wasn't like a straight shot up to that 60% pump in 2018, or in 2019, it wasn't a 250% pump straight shot up. There was some, consolidation and whatnot. But what I'm saying is we haven't had this big of a drop. Generally, price was supposed to kind of sustain around 55,000, maybe even get a little bit lower and then continue to climb up so that we can hit some of these targets. Because the 50% pump would have been like 82,000, and then at 100% pump 113. 200% pump $160,000. So that I'm just kind of a little bit concerned and a little bit weary, just because we fell so hard and fell so fast. That's not to say we're not going to rebound and kind of pop up, but realistically, this support line here around $30,000, anywhere between about $30,000 to about $33,000, maybe even 20, maybe even 28 if you want to catch these bottom supports that are down over here, these wicks. We kind of need to stay really in this range for us to kind of move back up. So that's just my personal opinion. Of course, the market doesn't care about my opinion. It'll do whatever it wants. But at the same time, too, I want to kind of pay attention to what was happening in these past Q2s. Because if you look at, let me kind of zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. This pump over here in 2018, we bottomed out and then we shot up. This pump over here in 2018, we hit, we pulled back, we hit, we pulled back, and kept going up. So we had these pullbacks. And then over here as well, back in 2020, we pumped sideways, pumped sideways, pumped sideways. So it was kind of different price action, but this is a pretty volatile drop here. And that's why I'm kind of like, we really need to hold this area at about like 33,000 approximately.
Yeah. And we need to hold it for a while. We need to hold it for like 60 days.
60 days. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We need to hold the range of like 30 to 40K of around 60 days, which is a lot of sideways, a lot of boring news when it comes to price action, because you know what people are like in this market. When we go sideways, it's almost dead.
Right.
When it's going up, it's exciting. When it's going down, it's scary. But when it's going sideways, it's what's Bitcoin? What is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Another thing I want to know too, Market Cipher printed a green dot. These big green dots generally mean it's found its local bottom. And this is on the 3-day chart. So just wanted to kind of point that out there. So yeah, that's what I think, guys. That's what I think is going to happen in as far as what's happening over here. Anyways.
The big thing to think about as well is I constantly tell my customers that you don't want to be scared about what it could do. You want to know this well and truly beforehand. So the people that you see, I own probably 5 different Facebook groups, have 250,000 people in them, and they're a great tool for sentiment. When the market is moving downwards, because there's people absolutely freaking out. But yeah, looking at, Wendy's got some incredible TA. I've watched a lot of your videos.
Thank you.
And it's gives you, a lot of understanding. And if it does go down, you're like, well, I've already accepted that this is a possibility. And, do I have more risk capital on the sideline, or can I get some more risk capital? Can I sell my dog or my car?
No, doggy, you cannot sell your fur children. That is illegal. Just kidding. You still should.
But yeah, not financial advice, of course, but yeah, if it gets to that point, like I know, I've had buy orders hit at 30K and 31K, all the way up to 64. So I'm a long-term investor. I'm looking at this from the long term. I think Bitcoin's going to get to over $1 million in the next 10 years. But yeah, it's going to be a bumpy hell of a ride between now and then.
I agree. All right. Well, Mitch, I think that's pretty much it for the show today. Do you have any topics you wanted to discuss or touch on, or anything really?
Not really. Like I'm just happy to be here. Like we had fun on that BitBoy show, and I really love what you're putting out, all the vibes and stuff. So it's just fun to be here and to be getting your insights, and to be giving some of mine. So if you do want to follow me, I'm doing a giveaway. I'm giving $100,000 worth of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I'm basically, every single dollar that I make from my channel, I'm putting into a portfolio, and then I'm giving that away at the end of the year. So
wow, that's so cool.
You get to be involved in it. All you gotta do is comment on a bunch of videos to be in the draw. So very, very easy to win. And yeah, we'd love to have you over on the channel.
Awesome. Well, Mitch, I had a great time with you on. It's always nice to have somebody who's smarter than I am when it comes to tech stuff, so I can ask questions and kind of like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because that's how I learn. I learn by asking people questions. My audience knows I am not the smartest tech person, just because my mind works a little bit differently, and that's okay. We're all good at different things. So you guys make sure to follow Mitch. After this show, I'm going to go ahead and put his links in the description. But again, you guys, thank you so much for watching. It was a great show.
Thanks for all the comments.
Yeah, thank you. So have a great rest of your day, guys. I will probably see you Sunday, 6 p.m.